Fantastic. So, yeah, welcome back to our room. Obviously, we've just started working, a bit of brainstorming here initially on our project risk register, and certainly building on what we did last Wednesday. So, yeah, the task at hand is to have these 3 categories of risk, and you'll see on the screen I've just got some of the examples on there, knowledge risk, financial risk, and Tan provide obviously for the second project, isn't it, the venue risk and logistics risk. And then, of course, the second column was really, as I hopefully explained there, so here to you, second column, really a brief explanation of that risk, a sentence or two just to explain, well, what is, almost that risk description, what it is. And then, of course, the third column to the right being the potential impact of that risk, what will happen if that risk is realised for our project? Does that mean, if it's a human risk, if in the case, as we're saying, if there is not the resources for employees to have the skills or knowledge, therefore they may not be able to use, they may not have the training in preparation for the use or the testing of this software, which may mean that our customers may have a less than, positive experience. And then, of course, that fourth column response, where we may control or mitigate, obviously put in, which would mean that we would obviously outline the steps of mitigation there, as we've said, or we may even avoid if we are unable to obviously improve that in any sense, or we may accept that risk. So we put in place some of the strategies following that. And then lastly, we may actually accept that risk or transfer, as said. Let me get these options, make sure we've got all 4 here. Yeah, avoid, control, mitigate, accept or transfer, as you said earlier. Thank you guys for that feedback around where we may transfer risk, say, to a third party, and and go from there. And then complete the mitigate action. Now this column, so what have we done? First, second, third, fourth, fifth to the right. This is where we're actually identifying the actions that we need to take, as we've got in our example. We're going to create internal documentation and perhaps a how-to video, and then we put a date on that, whatever date that may be. For our project. What was our second? Oh, financial risk. Yeah. So what's something we could do if we have a financial risk for our project where, we may actually have issues around managing costs for our project? What's a control? What's a mitigation? What are some steps we could put in place to mitigate that level of risk? Keen to hear from you.
Budgeting, maybe.
Yeah, very good, very good. So maybe we maybe do some additional, I don't know, I'm just thinking here, consultation with stakeholders. Exactly, Harry. Stakeholders, oh, the spelling right, in estimating costs. Yeah. To improve the budgeting process. Yeah, very good, Harry. Very good.
Once you paid your king slip, once you got your pink slip.
Yeah, so there may be some other strategies, that you might put in place, and that's certainly some of that compliance as well. Yeah, you might want to put in there.
Lips. Still outstanding.
Yes. Sorry, I missed that, guys. What was that? I missed that. Sorry. I missed that then. Did anybody else want to add? What about our risk with the knowledge risk is, not finishing on time. We have 2 weeks following the implementation. Otherwise, we lose, loss of customer data. That's right. What is something we might do to control or mitigate that risk around making sure that we don't lose that data in that timeline with our customers? What are your thoughts?
You could hire external servers to store the data.
Very good. Very good. Excellent.
Or you could negotiate with the current vendor to extend the timelines.
Exactly. Negotiate with vendor exactly for additional time. Very good.
Deploy data encryption services as well if needed to secure.
Sorry, Moisey, what was that?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Data encryption services could be deployed to secure the data to secure the
or
credentials
additional.
of customers.
Yeah, very good. Security. Deployment to protect. Very good. Or customer data. Excellent, guys. Any of the above. Brilliant. Fantastic. Very good. Very good. Very good. Brilliant. I'll keep talking through. You can keep making your notes. And then we'll just finish off. Our risk assessment basically would be, I think initially we're just doing this for the risk assessment. So we'll finish off these probability and impact to give a score and whether it is considered to be, as our drop down, does it say? No, it's not. Maybe not. It's not going to give us a drop down. Okay, just minor, intermediate, or key critical. We've got these. It basically aligns with it. It's quite helpful, isn't it? The traffic lights up here, where we can consider whether that risk would be considered minor, intermediate, or key or critical. So we might have, I'm just thinking, probabilities about a likelihood, and we've talked about that previously on our risk matrix that we can use here. So we might look at our probability and we might look at whether, we consider that to be a low, medium level of probability or a high level of probability, highly probable. So that could be a 1, a 2, or a 3. So basically you'll do that assessment based on it's very subjective, of course. This is certainly quantitative, not qualitative assessment when we look at this. We might look at the probability as being, a medium level of probability. So that might be a 2. The risk of, or the probability of it happening, I should say, not the risk of, but the probability of that risk occurring, particularly with our customer data, that might be quite significant. So it might actually be, if we don't put those measures in place, it is quite likely that it will occur. So we may actually put a probability of 3 on that. And then accordingly, going back to the risk scoring for our impact, which we've got our 3 options here: low, marginal, medium, and high and critical. So again, you'll make use your professional judgment. Not like there's a right and wrong formula here. This is something that you might consider to be, that's perhaps of a medium level of impact, but then the customer data might be, extremely critical. So we might end up with, basically we multiply to get our risk score of probability by, which gives us up here a 3 by 3, obviously a 9 up in red being, severity, key critical. And a 2 and a 2 gives us the intersection here of 4. You can see we're basically looking at for example, the 2 impact, the middle impact here, medium. 2 impact goes along and that crosses with 2 probability, medium level of probability could happen, gives us a 4, which keeps it in that intermediate risk. Whereas once we move up into that 6 to 9 score, we're up in key critical risk. That's basically what you're doing there. It's a bit of a calculation, but as I said, it is quite, you're basically using your judgment there to consider whether that is that low, medium, high, and then hopefully your sheet will change colour, as mine has, that I've just done, depending on the score that obviously has been generated from your risk scoring. You can see there that a risk category of 4 is in the intermediate level of risk. And then similarly, of course, the 9 being so high, that's up in that key critical level of risk. And that would give you I think that's all you need for the first one. I'll just go and hop back into that assessment document for a quick minute because I just want to make sure I'm giving you the guidance there. Identify document of 3 risks. Yeah, prepare a minimum of 3 questions. Okay, and upload your risk register version 1. Upload your risk register version 1. So let's see. You could probably put down, it's not a great deal here about cost impact. Just looking if there was something in the cost impact here. Maybe you want to use, because they've used minor again. Yeah, so maybe we could look, yeah, okay. It's not very distinctive here in terms of direction, but maybe we put here, yeah, they've got there a minor cost impact. I would probably, this budget issue, that could be quite major in terms of costs if we don't manage that. So I'll probably put that as as a major cost impact, the second one, or the 2 I've used. And then thirdly, of course, with our vendor for additional time. Again, that's probably a significant, yeah, it's probably a major, if we're talking about customer data and security there. This is all I don't think the schedule impact is very specific at all, unless there's something in the case study. I don't know if you guys have gleaned anything from that. I wasn't able to see anything. I'm quite happy if you put, if you need additional time in there, you might say we want 2 extra weeks for consultation on the budgeting process, and maybe we want 3 extra weeks to consult with the supplier on our server, our contingency plan around that customer data or something like that. I'm happy with that. And basically that's as far as you need to go at this moment, because we haven't gone into the residual risk. So at this point, that is as far as you would go, up to that blue column. So we're basically completing for our 3 risks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns probability. I'll keep going. 7, 8, 9. It's 10 columns. That's basically your task on this risk register for your 3 risks identified, the 10 columns up to and including our blue columns. And that would give you your first risk register. Be a bit of time on that. I'm here for questions, of course. Give you some thinking time though.
Lisa, Donnie here.
Go ahead, Donnie.
Question. At the top where you got the project name, project manager and all that, do we fill that up?
Yes, you can. Yes, of course. My apologies, making an assumption here, wasn't I? It's those assumptions that get us. So yes, you can include your name as project. Oh, sorry. Project name will be, what's the first one? CRM software project. Is that our first? So you'll do one for the software project and one for the conference project, isn't it? So the first one would be, say, software, if this is the one you're doing, or you might be even working on the conference. You can put your name in there. And then the date, estimated date of project completion. Whatever you would estimate there. Is that helpful, Donnie? Is that what you meant? Sorry, I should check.
Yeah, that's fine.
Great. Fantastic. Pleasure. Yeah, I'm here, guys, if you have any questions. But that would give you a very nice risk register to start with.
آره امروز چی شد؟ مامانت چطوره؟ مامانت خوبه؟ به زنگ بزنه چی میگه؟ آره مامانم برام
That
تازگی
Martha? Checking Martha, if you had a question.
Oops, no, sorry, I did a mistake, sorry.
No, that's okay. That's all good. I'm here. We're just working on, hopefully you can see that screen for the risk register. And I'm obviously here for questions. I just want to give you a few more minutes, guys, and then we'll move on. So guys, just before we move on, any questions on our, as I always say to you, not expecting a finished product in our Teams room, but hopefully some notes to give you some ideas where to start with the risk register. Questions, observations, thoughts? Keen to hear from you before we move on.
Hi, Lisa.
Yes, hi, Tan, go ahead. How are you going?
Good, thank you. The venue.
Good.
What category
How's that going with the risk register? Is that helpful? You feel
very.
Oh,
thank
fantastic.
you. Yeah,
fantastic.
thank you very much. Just wondering, the
Yes.
venue, what category would it fall under? Would it be financial?
Are you thinking in terms of the cost impact?
Yeah, because if it's not easy to get to things like that, like parking and that.
Yeah, so there might be a cost. It may also be a has it got financial? I was just thinking about with location. Is that what you're thinking? Like the location may have less guests, so we may have a marketing impact. I mean, it's got a cost impact. Yeah. So I mean, it's probably if we don't get the number of guests attend that we are planning, then it could be quite a major cost impact because we may not have the revenue from the conference. If you're talking conference, aren't you? Sorry, not CRM software. Yeah. Then that could be quite significant. Yeah, it could be major. Absolutely.
Because you know, to cater for accommodate 150 people, you know, it's not easy to find a venue, right?
A venue for that, absolutely. And then I mean, there would be some implication, like in terms of we would have to obviously, well, you know, just sort of thinking about venue management, there would be some sort of financial, we would need to put down, you know, deposits for that. And obviously, if we don't have the number of guests that we, you know, were planning, as it's supposed to say, that marketing impact, isn't it? You know, the customer that we are, clients, I should say, that we are, planning that would attend. If they don't, then I think that's quite likely to make it a major cost impact. Yeah, I think.
Agreed.
Does that support what you're thinking? Is that?
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very good. As I say, it's not as though there's a clear right or wrong here. You know, as long as you can work through logically and show your thinking, you know, in terms of your response and your mitigated actions and how you would, assess that risk, I think that's quite fine. Good one, Tal.
Thank you, Lisa.
Good one. Any other thoughts or questions on? Hopefully that's enough at this point. You can keep tapping away. I just want to look at the next part of our risk. Save a copy. Yeah, so make sure that's your version 1, guys. I've obviously put that in a highlight. You've got your 3 identified risks, whether you're doing the, I mean, obviously this is the first project CRM. I'm doing CRM, but some of you might already have moved ahead and doing the conference, so that's fine. That's brilliant, actually. But obviously I'm documenting this CRM. I will do the same, the conference anyway. But this one I've just documented for that first one. So you need to make sure you've got your risk register, which is in your Excel sheet, which is basically that. Make sure you save that. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you're across it all. I'm sure you guys are super capable. But make sure you save it somewhere so you don't lose your work. Identify and document 3 risks. Yep, we've done that into the template. Brilliant. Brilliant. Or prepare a minimum of 3 questions for the stakeholder meeting. This will help you with your role plays for those that maybe haven't done the role plays yet. So we want to please include 3 questions. For your stakeholder. What's a question that you might want to, hopefully a open-ended question? What do I mean by that? Why would I say an open-ended question? Why would I say that? Why would we want to ask an open-ended question? Well, what does it, when you hear the word open or the term open-ended question, what do you think of?
So it's a questions that you can just answer by yes or no. So you have to explain.
Superb, Ahmed. Superb. Well done.
Thanks, Lisa.
Well done. So a closed question is exactly what you said, Ahmed. That's the yes, no, you know. Did you have a good day? You know, are you enjoying this webinar? You know, yes, no, yes, no. Whereas an open-ended question is you cannot answer a yes, no. It requires a more detailed response. An open-ended question for our stakeholders, usually for our stakeholders, about risk, obviously. We're trying to explore about risk. Usually open-ended questions beginning with how or why or what or when. How or why or what or when. How is this risk likely to impact our project? Or Why would you consider this risk to be a minor risk or a major risk? Or what is it that you are considering when you are identifying this risk? Or when do you think it would be important to put our mitigation strategy in place? How or why or what or when? Great questions that require more than just a yes/no response. Spot on, Ahmed. Thanks for that. Fantastic.
You're welcome, Lisa.
Awesome. So you need 3 questions. So question 1, whatever that is, as I say, open-ended question beginning with a how or why or what or when. Oh, it could be even, sorry, I should be, or describe. You might ask them to describe the risk. Please describe the risk that you've identified. I'm keen to hear more about it, You're asking them for more details. Just put a space there for you guys to include your 3 questions. And that will be, go back to your risk register, whatever you've done. And obviously this is all, as I say, it's all draft. These are just ideas to give you. My mission is always for, I would never want you to have a blank page. So you've got something there. So now you're looking at this and think, well, okay, what's this risk about? Like, for example, my risk here about the knowledge risk, where employees may not have the knowledge to, to prepare for the new, the new CRM. This is for CRM software. Yeah. So my question might be something like, I might include a question around that, about, can you maybe please elaborate on the type of training that employees will need to mitigate this risk for the new CRM system, something like that, because the supplier might be actually providing the software, but we need to then talk to them about, well, what training could they provide? What type of training would the supplier recommend to support our team in being able to implement and use the new CRM software, or something like that. Anyway, I'll stop talking. I do that too much, don't I? Over to you. You have 3 questions you need to draft, even if you don't do the full question, but at least, have a go at them. As I say, doesn't have to be a finished product. 3 open-ended questions.
Yeah, sorry, Lisa. So we only need to do one or the other, right? Projects, we don't need to do both.
Oh, yeah, we'll do, but yeah, sorry, Tan, we will do both.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, sorry, let me just check though. I think we do, but let me check. I think as far as I think part 1 is project 1. Can you see that on your, so I think, let me just check. Part 1 is CRM and part 2, let me scroll. I think if I'm right, they may have changed it on me, so I might be giving you I might be giving you a poor guide. Oh, here we go. Yeah, part 2. So we will actually do both. We would. Sorry, what was that?
We only need to do one.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I missed you.
the role play. We only need to do
Yes,
one.
correct. Yes,
Cool.
that once
Okay,
the role
thank you.
play's done, I make sure that we've covered enough for the whole unit.
Yep.
Okay, so
Ah.
we basically, what I try and do is just do one role play per unit.
Yep.
And given that we do 12 units, I think 12 role plays is quite significant, if that's all right with you guys. Unless you want to do more, Tan.
No, thank you.
We've already done that, Lisa.
Ahmed, do you have a view on that?
I was just saying we've already done 9 so far.
I tell you what, they're so huge.
We're getting
aren't they?
tired.
I know. But I mean, they are great. It's a great opportunity for you guys to engage with each other with the role plays. So yeah, but as I say, I do try and hopefully, Tan, that answers your question around, you know, 1 per unit. That's enough, I think. Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
Pleasure. So yeah, we will do both of these, but I mean, what I try and do is at least if I work through the whole, if I can get through one project with you, basically you can literally copy paste it and edit it for the second project. At least you have a master set to work from. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Let me let you give some time on your questions. And I'm here for questions, of course. Cheers. Sorry, just while you're working on that, I'll just go to that chat and make sure there's no questions in the chat. I do that. What have we got here? Sayers point. Either need to raise. Yeah, that's good. That may be your mitigation. Very good, Saher. Very good. Yes. Sorry, I missed that earlier. And Harry, that's great. Okay, well, that's a good one. Okay, so I think we're okay there. Go back. As I said, I'll just stop talking. Let you work on your 3 questions, at least some ideas for your 3 questions to ask stakeholders regarding the risk. And I would, as I say, go back to your documentation in your risk register and build from there. Yeah. Anyway, quiet time for you to think. See you shortly. Check in there, guys, with your questions for the stakeholders on the risk, or on the risk register, really. Use that, as I said, to build from. Might check in with you. Does anyone have an example of their, you don't have to use your whole question. I appreciate that you've spent a bit of time on that. So you want to obviously include that in your assessment. But yeah, do you want to have maybe part of it that you want to, even the start of it, just to share on a particular question that could be part of that stakeholder consultation on risk assessment?
Who wants to answer?
Go.
You can answer, or do you want me to answer? Donnie, you go. Do you want to go first?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So Dan, which is the RT manager, should ask a question about functions will be required in the CRM software, and also hardware required to run the CRM.
Very good, very good. So we're asking that, aren't we, Ahmed, or I'm guessing, Ahmed, around the security of the software? Is that what you're, in terms of risk? I'm just thinking.
No, it's more, yeah, it's. Oh,
No,
it's
you're
really
going to say
bad.
something else. Go ahead. Give me
that's
another
it.
perspective.
No,
I love
no.
different perspectives. Come on.
So yeah, basically what antivirus or
yes.
what software, for software for cybersecurity will be required.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. Nice one. Thanks, Ahmed. Was Donnie the
Thanks,
other?
Lisa. Yes, Donnie.
Yeah, Donnie. Is it Donnie's? Over to Donnie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, is it a valid question to ask about the 6 weeks long project? Like why it takes what?
No, I think that's fine. No. What are you testing there? Are you trying to say something around? Are we asking that to try and explore why it is a 6-week time frame?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's, I think you could, I think it's a very valid, what are the constraints that are requiring us to complete this in 6 weeks, because what we're trying to understand perhaps is then, can we extend that time? Do we have some variance in there that we can tap into then to perhaps extend that timeline to build in some of these risk controls that we're talking about? So yeah, I think that's a good question, trying to explore the timeline.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, good on you, Donnie. Cheers. Anybody else like to share any examples of open-ended questions?
Sorry, Lisa. Do we have to mention who will answer or who will ask?
No.
Or just the questions?
Just that. Yeah, this is the direction here. More my understanding is, I'm always open with you guys. It's just prepare a minimum for you, for your state. So this is just what you would ask of the stakeholder. And as I said, I'm just putting here, my guidance to you to make them open-ended, the sort of how or why or what or when or describe, those sorts of questions to enable, exactly as you said before, we want more than a yes-no response.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Super. All right, guys. Nice.
Lisa,
yes, please go ahead. Punit, is it?
Would asking the stakeholder about the project tolerance be a question out here?
So when you say about the tolerance, obviously, we have an expectation and then we have some sort of range, I guess, where we might be able to, I think that's very, in terms of risk, Did you have a particular area? Were you thinking about tolerance, like in terms of our cost constraint or time constraint?
It could be either. You know, it could be time,
Yeah.
it could be cost, it could be
Yeah.
implementation,
Yes.
features of the CRM.
CRM. I think, and especially too, can I just, if you do go down that road, I think that's a great idea. I would tie this in with this cost, where was it? Cost impact, to get an idea here around, you know, in terms of the tolerance, to then understand this impact on cost, you know, the constraints of cost and time, or potentially, I should say, Puneet.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks for that. Brilliant. Guys are amazing. Fantastic. Very good. Keep tapping away. Anybody else want to share? Please do. Upload your risk rate. Okay, so that's where you'll basically upload what we've done. You can I just say, because you can have, you know, many documents if you want, whatever works for you, or I'm quite happy if you want to I'll just go to this project details, because we might want to put screenshots in. Let me just check. We've got another attachment, appendix. Where is our project? Appendix 2, project details. Let me just have a look here. So this is our project detail document. So I'm happy if you wanted to use this document, you can put everything into one. Please include a screenshot then. So it's up to you if you want to upload multiple documents. I'm very happy to, whatever's easier for you. Actually, I'll put that note here. You can upload multiple documents to our TDC for the unit. Okay, so that includes all of the appendices, you know. Those appendix that we have there. Alternately, sorry, you may prefer, and it doesn't matter to me, it's whatever works for you, I do not mind. You may prefer to include screenshots of the appendices in each task. So it's up to you. So such as, so if I was going to do that, I could then go to my risk register and I could put that. Oh. And I could screenshot, what have I got? Knowledge, yeah, on there. And I might just reduce that ever so slightly to get that schedule impact, yeah. And then I'm basically going to and I can do a screenshot, something like that. For those three, as I said, you'll do 3 for each project, just to there. Excuse me. And I can copy that. And I can then go back to my project details document. And put it in there. So it's really up to you how, as I said, I'm happy if you want to upload the Excel sheet and then the project details for it, and you can just say you have uploaded it separately, that's fine. Or If you want to do it all in one, you can as well. Then you would, again, under there, please include your 3 questions developed. Open-ended, hopefully. To ask your project stakeholder. That will give you all of task 1. Yeah. But as I said, I'm very comfortable. It really does not matter to, it's whatever works for you. It's your learning process. As long as I've got the information there, that's all I need. So as long as I need to make sure there's a risk register in there with, as I say, those columns, what did we say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 columns for our 3 risks. And then your 3 questions for your stakeholders, question 1, question 2, whatever it is, and question 3. Then that would be the end of task 1. Task 2 is our meeting. So we've done that or doing that. So that's good. Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's not bad. Not bad at all. What do you think, guys? Does that give you enough notes on task 1 for our, what's our project 1? CRM project. Yeah, project 1 is CRM project. What do you think? Are we good?
Very good, Lisa.
Sounds
Very
good.
good.
Very good.
Sounds
Very good. It must be dinner time if you were very good.
That's why I said very good. Yes.
It's like, yes, we're very good. Move along, Lisa, move along.
Exactly.
It must be time for dinner. Chop, chop. Oh, gosh. Well, I tell you what I'll do. I will leave that on the screen because task 2 is out. Yeah, so we're doing that. You can actually, and I'll just put here, please include the screenshot because I'll give you your, of your observation checklist. I do that. Obviously, that's I know we did a few groups last week and then we'll do a few more this Wednesday. I'm looking forward to them. So then, yeah, I'll just format that. So that's in red for you. Please include the screenshot of your observation checklist from our Wednesday evening at Bankstown. Evening at Bankstown. Beautiful. So that can go under there, your screenshot. And then put a little shape in there. Is that helpful? There you go. Whatever your observation checklist, does that go down there? Maybe there. Brilliant. That'll go there. And then we're up to task 3. Brilliant. Okay. So I think that's wonderful. Task 1 and 2 we've documented. We'll take a dinner break. If you're happy, I'll go back to the chat just for a minute because I just want to put a message in the chat. So, oh, that's good, Harry. Hopefully you're back now. Just going to have right on cue too, Harry. We're going to have take our dinner break. So let's take our dinner break. Give you a chance to get off the screens too and have something to eat, refuel and re-energize. And I will leave, I'll go back to the chat in a minute, but yeah, I will leave this on screen. So if you just want to keep tapping away, you might get back a little early after dinner, or you might be just finishing it off and you feel better to get it done while you've got that momentum. So I'll go back to that. And then, so let's take dinner. I've got nearly 7:30. So let's rejoin at 8 p.m. for task 3. Brilliant. What do you think? Hopefully okay, I should say. Hoping okay. That's a question. It's not a directive. Oh, good on you guys. Thank you, Tan. Fantastic. Thanks, Omar. Awesome. Hopefully, thanks, Brunette. Hopefully that's all good. All right. Thanks, Donnie. Cheers. So I will see you at 8. Though I will leave that on screen, as I say, if you're tapping away still, or if you want to go and have a break, then come back and then we're ready to go all together on task 3. Lovely. See you at 8. Cheers. Just noticed Nadia saying, hopefully Nadia, I'll just check if you've come back in there. Nadia. Hopefully, Nadia, you've got sound now. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Hoping we have sound.
Yep, loud and clear, Lisa.
Oh, lovely. Thanks, Tan. You're awesome. The response quicker than I could type. Look at that. Thanks, Tan. Awesome. Thanks, Punet. Awesome.
Yeah, all good, Lisa. I can hear you.
Awesome. Thanks, Elias. That's great, guys. So, as said, as always, as I say, like when we're at Bankstown and obviously in our Teams room, not expecting to have all this finished. It's just to give you, as I say, my mission always, I do not want you to have blank pages. So hopefully you've got something now to at least draw from. And of course, our stakeholder meeting, the observation checklist. Basically, is it here at the back? Sorry, I'm just scrolling. No, it's not. It's in the project assessment. I will give you a copy of the observation checklist, probably in the project document, of course, silly me. Yeah. So scrolling.
Lisa, you're not sharing the screen yet.
No, it's okay. I'm just going to I'm grabbing a screenshot and I'll show you. I'm trying to search something. Sorry for it. I'm like, where is that document I want to include? Let me just grab this. So,
Lisa, sorry to cut you. I just want to say thank you so much. It's working now.
oh, that's great. Fantastic. Oh,
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Isn't technology wonderful when it works? We go, oh, it's so great. But then when it doesn't, we go, oh no. So frustrating. But no, you just got to be, I congratulate all of you guys for being so resilient with this, because there are times when it can be a little bit frustrating, but everybody's persevering and keeping their head, and I'm really proud of you all. So yeah, well done. Really well done, all of you. But thanks, Nadia, for the feedback. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Cheers. Now I'm going to take the screen. So Puneet, hopefully now you can see me driving. Yes, because I will put now in our screenshot there, which will be our little observation checklist. Which will give us task 2. And as said, that will be, some of you have already done that, which is great. And some of you will be finishing that this Wednesday night at Bankstown. So that will give you task 1. And then task 2 with your observation checklist. As said, I will always my mission to give you a screenshot of that for integration into your assessment document. And so now we're up to task 3. Our risk analysis. Now, what's happened? Let's go back to this project. Something's changed. Something has changed because they're now asking us. Let me go back, sorry. So on our project document, excuse me, we have done, yes, task 1, task 2. I said, I'm happy if you want to integrate this into one document, or alternately, you can do the uploads. It's totally whatever works for you. Task 3, here we go. Using the information and notes taken during your stakeholder meeting, you now have enough information and the authority to start up to R. Okay, so you won't be able to do this until we do the role play on, well, you won't be able to complete this. So maybe what we'll do is just maybe share some ideas. It's not meant to be a completed finished product, that's the word, until you have your stakeholder meeting. But this might actually help you do a bit of prep for that meeting. So we might treat it more as preparation than a post review. Maintain version control of your document. Yep, I know you'll do that anyway. So this will be version 2. So obviously the first one we did, this one here, was version 1. Okay, so that's version 1. So now we're going to do version 2, and we're going to update all risks identified. So this is really what we've got to do, update all risks identified from your stakeholder meeting clearly in the risk register. Your responses are used to perform the risk assessment. Okay, so this is what we're actually doing now. Awesome ideas. Use the agreed risk ranking system to apply risk calculator. Okay, so this is what you'll be talking about in your meeting. Yeah. Determine risk criteria, identify at least one risk. Okay, so that's really good. That's really good. So we're using the system. So that's what we need to show. You've pretty much all done it, actually, in version 1. Yeah, so I think you'll be able to pretty much copy paste it, but I will give you some time just to reflect on that. And, this is what we haven't done, the risk action. Okay, so that's what we need to do. Okay, so in version 1, we actually did our risks and we did our risk ranking because we did our probability times severity or consequence to get a risk scoring, I should say. And we had at least one risk being critical because that was in the red, wasn't it? If I remember correctly, that would be, yeah, we've got one in the red. So you have to have at least one in that red, the key or critical up in that, which I think was 6 to 9 was the rating, numeric rate, the scoring, I should say. 6, yes, this one here is showing us, yes, you need to have one that's a 6 or a 9, 6, 6, 9, yeah, which will give you a red, which is a, high risk, critical risk. What is it? Critical, here we go, key critical risk, yeah. Which you've done that. So that's great. You've done all that. Just make sure, please make sure that you have got one risk that is in that red zone, key critical. And then what you need to do now for version 2, so that's version 1, what we've done. Version 2 is where we now add the action plan. The action plan. So you'll do an action plan, which actions, steps that need to be taken to address the 3 risks. As said, you've always got to have your 3 on this risk register. So we're going to write 3 actions for our 3 risks, and we're going to put the risk owner and the date that that's expected to be completed. Now, when I look here, I've got a financial risk and a knowledge risk. Yes, I remember now. So our financial risk could be, as we said previously, I think we talked about, need to include additional consultation. And maybe we be a bit more specific here with key stakes such as the finance team. Now, I don't know if there's anyone in the scenario. Has anybody been reading our such as the finance team? I'm just going to go to another. Yeah, go ahead, Nadia.
So is the finance team that we're talking about identifying the risk? It could have been like, with overspending or
Yes.
the wrong allocated, budget for this particular project.
Exactly. So what we were talking about there, the financial risk to the project, exactly that, where we don't, perhaps the estimates aren't as accurate as what they could potentially be. So we're not estimating well. So when our actual expenses, actual costs come in versus planned cost, we there's a greater variance than what we would have expected. So yeah, I think that's spot on, Nadia. What I was actually thinking, in addition to what you've said, is in Appendix 1, I know we've got a few appendices with this one, but in Appendix 1, we have got our, and we did go through this last week, yes, because this was our context, our CRM. So if we look at CRM, 5-person, okay, so I was thinking, these are my thoughts, and obviously you guys can add to this or edit this, but we've got Donna, who's the project. We have an IT manager, we have an IT specialist, but we don't have any finance specialists. Okay, so I think that's probably an action that we do need to, that's one if you had included a financial risk as one of your 3 risks, then perhaps some of that, and I'll just expand this for a minute, it might be about trying to, such as identifying, that might be the action, identifying a key team member from the finance team to support cost estimates. We actually want to make sure that we're estimating costs accurately. And then you need to identify who will own that. Probably you, Mr. Project Manager, your name. I think you need to be the one to do that. Project manager should be identifying that key stakeholder. We're responsible for making sure that we have, you know, a budget, a cost estimate for our project. And then the date would be, that's an old date, I'm going to change that to 2024. How long do you think it would take you to work with or at least identify a key team member from finance? How much time would you like? What do you think?
Depends on the progress of the consultation. We may identify one of the stakeholders, you know, who would be happy to be the treasurer or to be like, you know, the finance manager. So
yeah, exactly.
to oversee, you know, the progress with the spending and monitoring of the project.
That's a good point. So maybe we put, I don't know what, maybe we'd like, how many weeks is our project? Do we know that? That's actually probably a good, go back to that simulation.
I think it's 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Okay, so we don't have long. So maybe it's like by end of week 1 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Nadia is such a good point there. And in consideration of, you know, what your our lead times, we don't have a lot of time, do we?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe something
and
like
this can be addressed like, you know, in a very gentle email, please note, like, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like, you know, you have been recommended
yeah
as a specialist that perhaps could potentially, you know, support
such an
our
honor to have you
exactly.
on our committee.
Exactly. And we would, you know, we would kindly invite you to be part of our project. Yeah, absolutely. But I think that's good. And basically you'll do that for all 3. 3. What was the 3rd risk? Oh, the knowledge risk. That's right.
The knowledge, we perhaps we could get one of the neighborhood centers you know with over 30 years serving the community needs, fully aware of the needs and the concerns and issues, so they may come on board as well.
Yeah, so maybe that's something about another key stakeholder, because this is not finishing that within time, negotiating with vendor. Oh, yeah, so that's what we talked about there too, yeah. So maybe it's something like that, need to include additional
stakeholders
supply chain management,
such as supply. Exactly. Very good. Let's get rid of that. Suppliers, yeah, to enhance, yeah, supply chain. Yeah, I think that's good, guys. Yeah, something like that. Or something to, you know, similar. I mean, obviously, as I say always, guys, it depends. It would depend on your risks that you've identified here, your 3 that you have identified. Again, probably, I think it's probably appropriate. Project manager needs to include that consultation. And again, I don't think we've got too much time to spare. So maybe, you know, it's end of week, maybe 2, something like that. I don't know. You guys can see. I'm just putting some ideas out there. See what you think. I'll put some question marks there and you can determine what you think would be appropriate. Main point here is, though, now, obviously, version 1 of our risk register was our 3 risks, identifying to the point where we had, you know, we'd literally done our risk scoring. Now we're trying to document actions for our 3 risks with an action owner and the date. which, as I said, I'm happy if you work in end of weeks, because obviously our project is, you know, as we've determined, we have 6 weeks. So I'm very happy for you to do that. So the main addition now will be, if I just grab a shape to show you, is this section here. Good if we don't fill it in. No, Phil. Yeah. So this section here is what we're now, this grey section, this action plan residual risk. This is what we're doing now for version 2. So this would be the section when you go to do a screenshot, then you're adding in this section, which will be version 2 to go into your assessment. But anyway, I'll stop talking. You need some time to think about actions, specifically actions to address the 3 risks you have identified in version 1 of your risk register, with the action owners who should own that action, and the date or an estimate. As I said, I'm happy if you put, you know, in week terms, or end of which week, as I've just put the end of week 1 or end of week 2, whatever you feel is appropriate for planning purposes. So this is the part we're working on now, this grey, there's a grey field at the top, action plan residual risk on your risk register for the 3 risks identified, now looking at actions. Okay, I'll stop talking. See you shortly. Thinking time for you. Cheers.
Lisa, just a question.
Yeah, of course.
On the financial risk that we were talking about.
Yes.
Normally, the estimates are done by the project initiator. Would be the project initiator, the cost estimates.
Yes.
And because the finance department is basically controlling and monitoring the cost and not actually estimating it. So, to my knowledge, project initiator would be estimating it and, you know, getting it vetted by the finance team and getting approval from the sponsor, project sponsor.
Absolutely. And that's fine. I mean, obviously this is a, we can be creative here because, you know, we only have a scenario with very limited information. So I'm really happy, Puneet, you can be as creative. Basically, all we've got what's in that simulation. So I'm really happy if you want to structure, you know, because that's obviously part of that governance almost, isn't it, now getting into. I'm very happy if you want to structure that way and document your risk action plan aligned with that. Brilliant. Go ahead.
Yeah, because when the cost overruns, you basically go back to estimates and then go to the project sponsor to get it allocated.
Exactly. And that may be a change, part of that change management piece as well. Absolutely. Fantastic.
Thanks.
Sounds great. Awesome. Over to you. I'll let you have some time on that, and we'll hopefully that gives us our version 2 of our risk register. See you soon. So as said, always, guys, not expecting a finished product during our Teams room, but hopefully you've got some ideas there to support the documentation of your action plan. Of course, importantly, key word being action plan, you want to make it very action focused, what needs to be done, what needs to be put in place, what needs to be, if there's additional consultation, if you need to arrange that or coordinate that, or if we need to arrange additional meetings, if we need to, Puneet's point, if we need an additional meeting with sponsor, if we need to go back to sponsor, or if it's part of our project review meeting with sponsor or our team, then we need to articulate, include that as part of our actions. Really good, guys, really good. Or Nadia's point about, that additional consultation with someone, where we need to even identify who that stakeholder is that may have that particular additional skill that we need, or additional expertise. If we're talking about, say, feedback, where, financial expertise, then how we identify that, we want to obviously include that in our actions, part of our, said, being action focused. Our action plan should be quite action focused. So, very, talk about verbs, doing words, including, reviewing, coordinating, arranging, if it's meetings. Words like that to support the action focus of our action plan. A bit wordy, isn't it? But anyway.
And can I add also, Lisa?
Nadia, please go ahead.
It's also about, like, identifying those highly skilled people with expertise with a number of years related to the field which been identified in the project. This will also contribute to the success of the the organization achieving the best outcome due to the fact that those people with their skills and ability will be contributing significantly to the success of the project.
Yeah, definitely, Nadia. Such a good point. And applying this in, obviously when we're talking about risk, exactly, I think you make such a good point there around who are the individuals that will have expertise. We're talking about, managing risk or action plan for the residual risk. What actions need to be put in place to address, to control those risks, even further than what we've perhaps initially documented in our risk assessment. Then further from that, what else, what, as you're saying, Nadia, what additional experts are in our organisation, or potentially, could be, to identify them, to come, to be part of our project team, or to be part of our consultation project with as a stakeholder, really, to provide feedback on their, with their expertise in terms of their perspective on risk. So I think there's some really good points in there, that you've all, contributed there, that I think are very helpful for that section on the risk action plan. And that will give you basically version 2. So you basically take again, screenshot. Just move that over a little bit. Date achieved, I don't think we need to go further because this is still a plan. We don't have an outcome yet. So I think as long as we have that, and the second part of our sort of continues on, doesn't it? Our risk assessment in terms of I'll take it from there anyway. Our risk rankings, our risk scoring to give us a risk ranking, and then our action plan of our residual risk. I think then you've done, copy that. So as said, in line with what we talked about previously this evening, I'm very happy if you want to put your screenshots into this document for, what is it, Appendix 2. So again, very happy if you want to put version 2, which is I'll just put here, please. Actually, I'll copy paste that whole message I wrote before, because it's up to you. You can upload it as multiples, or you can upload that in, or include, I should say, a screenshot. It's really your choice. You can upload multiple documents, or in our TDC for the unit. Yeah, includes the appendices, yes. And alternately, you may prefer to include screenshots of the required appendix in each task of this document. Yes. For example, the screenshot following for version 2 of this risk register. Now including the action plan to address this residual risk, to address these the 3 risks. That's what I identified in version 1, basically. So you just built on version 1 of your document. And that would be your second screenshot, which would give you task 3. But as said, if you prefer to upload the multiples of documents, that's fine as well. As long as I can see whatever you upload is you know, legible, can read it, then that's great. Anyway, I'll give you a minute just to integrate that, and then we'll move on to task 4. Going well, guys, very well. Not sure, say here if you've got a question there with your microphone on. Please feel free to ask. Oh, good. So yeah, so that once you've integrated that, as I say, whether it's separate or if you want to screenshot in there, that will give you task 3, because that's your version 2. That's obviously what you have to include there, version 2 of the risk register, which we've now included. Now this grey or area that was highlighted in grey being the action plan, and now we can move. I might just scroll this down so we can now move to our task 4. Monitor and control our project risk. Upload risk register version 2. Well, we've done that, so I think that was, yeah, it's okay. We've got that. So we've done our risk register version 2. That's fine. Now we are drafting an email to your stakeholders, providing your suggested treatments and outcomes, and request updates on identified risks as well as any new risks. All right. So this is to our stakeholders. So this is regarding what we've just done in this section. Again, that's back to that section, isn't it, on action plan. Just grab that shape again, because that will go into this section here. This is what we're emailing. Oh, emailing about. Yeah. Our action plan. So our email can be to key stakeholder, whoever you name. So you can obviously please refer to the case study for that. You can refer to any of those key stakeholders that are identified. Simulation pack, that's where it is. Sorry, mental blank. Okay. And then, excuse me. Subject is something around feedback. Yeah, request for feedback or something like that. On what is it? On suggested treatments or checks, risks. And then you'll write your body of email. Yeah. Body of email. Just say, please ensure your email summarizes, I think that's appropriate, your suggested treatments. And request updates. Yeah. Maybe I'd also put and request feedback on these identified risks, something like that. As well as any risks that have been, any new risks. Yeah, so I think as long as you've got something around that where you reference it, and you can refer, whatever you want to put there, can refer to the risk register. Completed. And then, insert your name as project manager, and that would be an exemplar of an email to support the communication process for our risk review. Yeah. Draft an email to your stakeholder, yes, providing your suggested treatments, outcomes, so that's your action plan basically, and any updates, request as well. I think that's fine. I think that would give you task 4. Just spend a moment on that. I'm here for questions, of course. I'll let you spend a bit of time on that. So again, guys, hopefully you've got some ideas there on drafting the, excuse me, the email to our stakeholders, basically reviewing what you've captured here in task 3, your risk, in terms of your risk register that you've now built on the action plan, which is the point here then to communicate. It's really the communication process around your suggested treatments, those actions that were listed in the action plan. And then we have task 5, which is our risk register version 3. Oh, wow. So we just keep going. I'll just have a look in our simulation what's now, because I know in the simulation pack it had, I think it had initially task 1 to 4, task 2, 3 and 4. Sorry. Okay. Now task 5. Here we go. So where have I got this from? I have got this from Appendix 1, the simulation pack, just so you know where and I'm sure you're already across it. Appendix 1 on page, because we've used all of this for our first couple of tasks. And now task 5 is now saying, around halfway through the project, when conducting a project risk review, you receive the following 3 emails. Okay, so we've now received communication. I've thought about the risk to this project. My concern is about the deadline. I believe on current track we will need an additional 2 to 3 days to complete delivery. This would mean additional staff and contractors costs and would also tighten the necessary time frame for training. So this is I think Dan from memory was the IT specialist. Does that ring a bell? Is that, oh, sorry. Dan, yes, is our IT manager.
Coordinator. No, Donna.
Yes, sorry.
Email 1 is from Donna.
Is that right?
Email 1, Donna, Christian.
Donna, oh, right. Where did I miss that, did I? So that's Dan. Maybe it's the next one, is it? Donna.
She's a project coordinator.
Yes. So we've got, so this is the second one from Donna, is that right? Donna.
Second one is from Aditi.
So I've got here email 1. Is that right? Email 1 from Dan. Is that right? Email 1 from Dan. And then email 2. Email 2 is from Donna. Is that right? And then, no, you're right. And then email 3 is from Amanda. Is that right? Email
Sorry, I was looking at project 2.
Oh, cool. That's good. No, that's all good. It's good because I'm like, oh, maybe I've missed something. So it's good. I appreciate the feedback. It's really good. I appreciate it. So we need to have a look at these 3. Dan is wanting additional. So Dan's risk is around the time, the constraint, isn't it? One of our triple constraints of time. And Dan's talking about the need for additional employees and obviously additional contractor costs, yeah. And the time frame for train. So there's a lot of time and cost in Dan's point. And then Donna's said the training materials, and I believe we can make them simple enough. My only concern particularly based on a couple of lack of interest. Okay, so this is the motivation for team making the employees making the time for the, okay, this could put the initial go live at, okay, so this is going to impact our go live date with employees that aren't particularly motivated, their buy-in. If we can not sure buy-in from all team members have been met and they are comfortable, yeah, okay. So we need to really get some buy-in there. That's an issue. And then our third email from Amanda's saying, sorry, no direct risk feedback from mine, but I do need to let you know that I spoke with Dan today and we both agreed that I will be working from home for the remainder. He mentioned that I will need to run the WHS issues by you to confirm this is okay. We'll be communicating via Microsoft Teams. Okay, so we have a risk, that's probably more the human risk, isn't it? WHS for the employee working remotely. So there are 3 updates on risk. So I think what we're going to do now is, following that, will be I was thinking we'd just do this last one and put some commentary in there around what those 3 emails, because there's not much else to. Yeah, maybe we put some additional comments in here. Task 5, we've got the simulation update. I don't think there's anything else we need to do. It's just saying upload risk register version 3.
Wouldn't these be additional risk apart from the 3 that we have done?
It's actually changed it, hasn't it?
Yes.
It?
So there will be
Yes.
additional
So
risk, and that will be the updated register.
So let's put, I don't want to lose this. So let's close this. I think that's a very good idea.
There'll be risk number 4, 5, and 6.
4, 5, and 6. So why don't we put here? Why don't we open? Excuse me. No, I don't want that. I want the actual. This one. I think I want to copy that. And let's paste that one there. And let's call that. So this would be version 3. So let's make that an additional one for our version 3. Yeah. And now we can, yes, get rid of these. Maybe we want to, you can run them all. Sorry, try again. Take that out. Taking that out. That's okay. 4 and 5 and 6. Yeah. So that will go. Let's just get rid of that. No. There. Beautiful. So now we have Dan's concern of the additional time needed. Sorry. I might just get this one. Copy that. Put that in there. So this is about summarize that a little bit better. Additional, yeah. So our risk will be to our timeline. So you could include something like risk to our delivery of our project, to delivery of the CRM software project requiring additional 2 to 3 days. Impact could be potential impact, meaning additional staff. Yes, exactly.
No,
so
resources and cost.
And cost, yeah, exactly. So let's summarize. That's a good one. Requiring for additional human resources and costs. Very good. Very good. Response. Response. What are we going to do? Avoid, control, mitigate, accept, transfer. Do you think?
It should be accepted.
Accept. Very good. Very good. And we would put something along the lines of a completed mitigation action. So Dan has, just go back to Dan's email. What about the risk? Key concern is debt. Yeah. Leave on, we will need additional. Yeah. Yep. 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 So then our action, I think we need, this is really your point about raise change request for additional resources and cost or sponsor approval.
Yeah, thanks.
Or something like that. Something,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's very relevant now for that. Yeah. Or something to that degree. Oh, yeah, that's basically what you'll do. Oh, that's basically what you'll do for each of the three. How are we going for time? Oh, yes, that will be a bit of homework. So then you'll do risk 5 from what we've just read, the emails. Cancel that. Don't let me do it. So risk 5 from, what was it? It was Donna? Yeah, Donna's email. That's right. And then risk 6 will be from Amanda's. Is that right? I got that right. So we've covered Dan's email in risk 4, Donna's email, risk 5, and Amanda's in risk. And that would give you your version 3 of your risk register. I'm very conscious of time. So sorry, guys. We just did so well. But yeah, basically once you do that, you can screenshot that, or as said all night, you can upload that as a separate file, whichever supports your learning process. That would give you your task 5. Just screenshot that, and that, as I said, always not expecting you to finish all this tonight, but at least it gives you some ideas for your version 3. Do that again, sorry.
So Elisa, for email 3, there is no risk.
Email 3.
Yeah, it says no direct risk feedback.
What does Amanda say? Amanda says no direct risk feedback, but I do need to let. Oh no, I think I would probably include maybe something around the human risk there, because Amanda's now going to be working remotely, and Dan said that you'll need to run the so maybe it's around human, like WHS issue for this project team member working remotely. So just something maybe around the, you know, just the human risk for any work health and safety issues for them. I would just include that as a human risk for the third one. Yeah.
Because they, it seems like they agreed on something, so
Yes.
they would have
Yes.
identified an area.
Yeah, exactly.
Until,
I think so. I think it's
the
just
remainder
that.
of the project.
Yeah, I think it's just capturing that there are potentially, you know, WHS, well, there is a WHS risk inherent in working remotely. And so we just need to document that. If that's helpful, Ahmed.
Yes, Lisa, I'll work something out. Yeah, I'll work something out. Yeah. Thanks.
Good on you. No worries. So I'll just grab that, as I say, do a little screenshot there. At least gives you something to work from. And I'll just copy that, and that would go into your task 5. And then we have to just do task 6, lesson 9. Yeah, beautiful. Nearly there, guys. We can finish that on Wednesday night. Oh, that's great, actually. Yeah, actually, we'll do a bit of brainstorming on the lesson zone, which will be great. We'll do that together on Wednesday night, and then we might even start doing a bit of work on our second project. And then, of course, importantly, for any of you that haven't, I know there was a few groups still preparing their role play for Wednesday evening. So yeah, that's basically the mission. We'll finish off this and then we'll get our role plays underway, and yeah, really want to get those role plays completed this Wednesday evening. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful. Hopefully, and I will save that in our Teams room, what we've worked on tonight, and see you all on Wednesday at Bankstown. Thanks, Harry. Cheers.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank
Nadia.
you, Lisa.
Thank you,
Hi,
Lisa.
Lisa. Before we finish today,
Yeah.
Lisa.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
When is the final submission date for the policy assessment 2? Just to confirm, I actually finalized it yet.
Sure. So we finished that nearly a couple of weeks ago. So I'll just stop that recording now. I'll do that firstly. So what I